The case involving Jorge Avalo, a 60-year-old caretaker at a rural property, deeply shook the country. Jorge lost his life after being surprised by a jaguar in a wooded area known as Touro Morto. Since then, numerous distorted versions of the events have circulated. Several pieces of false content, including unrelated videos, were widely shared across social media platforms. That is why, in this video, we will present the real sequence of events, based on information confirmed by authorities and specialists. And, believe it or not, the true story is even more astonishing than most people imagine. To understand what led to this tragedy, we need to go back a little, before the attack. About a month prior to the incident, security cameras at the property recorded a jaguar calmly roaming the area. The footage showed the large feline moving near the ranch where Jorge carried out his duties. However, the warning signs did not stop there. Locals had already been informally commenting on the animal's presence, warning each other about the potential danger. A video that later surfaced shows a friend of Jorge joking about the situation. At one point he says, "Was the little kitty fighting over there? Why didn't you step in and break it up? Let's send this to Dow. Hey Dow, the jaguar's gonna eat Jorge." Jorge replies, No, it won't eat me." The friend continues, "This is Jorge's house. Look where the jaguar was fighting. Looks like a buffalo fight. Look at the claw marks. It tore the place up. Look here. It kept moving this way. Here's where it all happened. And over there, more marks." Despite the lighthearted tone, the situation was much more serious than it seemed. Days later, a visitor who went to the ranch to buy honey stumbled upon alarming signs. He came across a large amount of blood on the ground, drag marks, and the distinctive paw prints of a jaguar scattered throughout the area. In a video recorded on the spot, he narrates, "We just got here to buy honey from the guy. We found blood all over the ground here, jaguar paw prints, and signs of dragging. You can see the tracks clearly. Blood everywhere, mud covering parts of it, and marks showing where something was dragged. The jaguar headed that way. We just arrived, maybe 10 or 20 minutes ago." The discovery triggered an urgent search operation. Several teams, including the Environmental Military Police and the victims' family members, joined forces in the search efforts. Footage captured shows agents combing through the woods and scanning the terrain in an attempt to find Jorge Avalo. Sadly, parts of his body were found near the banks of a river, hidden within a small patch of dense vegetation, roughly 280 meters from his house. Fresh jaguar tracks were discovered nearby, confirming the animal's involvement in the attack. However, what few expected was that the story was about to take another dramatic turn. According to reports from those involved in the operation, after locating the remains and returning to the site to retrieve them, the same jaguar reappeared, behaving aggressively and injuring one of the team members. Footage recorded during the search shows one of the men involved confirming that the wounds found on Jorge Avalo's body were indeed caused by a jaguar. With the confirmation of a fatal attack, authorities intensified their efforts to locate the animal. The jaguar responsible, a male weighing approximately 207 pounds, was eventually captured during an operation deep within the forests of the state of Mato Grosso do Sul. According to information from the Environmental Military Police, the attack was first discovered when a fishing guide visiting Jorge's ranch to buy honey grew concerned about the caretaker's absence. Near the property, he found traces of blood and large paw prints, which were documented and reported to the authorities. Jorge Avalo's remains were located the following Tuesday morning after an intensive search through the forest. In an official statement, the government of Mato Grosso do Sul announced that the State Department of Environment had organized a special task force for the operation. It was composed of environmental military police officers, a researcher from the Federal University of Mato Grosso do Sul, and 2 experienced local guides. The plan was to capture the jaguar safely and transfer it to the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. To achieve this, the animal was sedated, given venous access for potential anesthetic support, and equipped with a monitor to track its heart rate and body temperature. The challenge was significant. The area was home to many jaguars, and heavy rains had caused river levels to rise, making access even more difficult. But to the surprise of the agents, the jaguar returned to the attack site the very next night. The animal tampered with objects, tore through the protective netting, and rifled through the tarp used by the rescue team, a typical behavior of big cats attempting to reclaim prey removed from their territory. Residents reported more than one jaguar came by that night. Well, maybe just one this time, but right over there, near that coconut tree, was where they fought before. It was a female and two males. It happened right here where that video was filmed, the one where I was joking with my brother-in-law, saying he was gonna get eaten. Well, she came back, ripped the net, and jumped into the little fish cleaning station he used. The following morning, the capture was successfully carried out. The moment was recorded on video, and one of the members of the operation stated, "This was the male that had been roaming around here. Now we can take him to the center to assess his condition and try to understand what happened. You can tell he is very underweight." According to experts, the jaguar's weakened state may have contributed to its unusual behavior. The main theories include food scarcity, defensive behavior, heightened aggression linked to the breeding season, or even some unintentional action by the victim. Another factor considered is the possible habituation of the jaguar to human presence due to the illegal practice of feeding wild animals, a practice known as baiting, which can make big cats bolder and more dangerous. Witnesses also reported that the jaguar had been frequenting the property for some time. In an audio recording released to the public, a nephew of the victim said, "She, the jaguar, was smart. She stayed around and learned his routine. Sometimes the cameras at the fishing spot would catch her during the day, walking along the water's edge or lying near the boats." However, at the time of the attack, the security cameras on the property were not working. It is important to note that this tragic event took place in the heart of the Pantanal, one of the most well-preserved ecosystems in Brazil. More than 1,299 species, including birds, mammals, fish, and reptiles, live in the region under ideal conditions for survival. Even so, direct contact between humans and large predators, such as jaguars, must be avoided. Experts from the Pantanal Man Institute stress that rural workers and visitors should immediately contact the fire department or the environmental military police in the event of a big cat sighting to ensure the safety of everyone involved, including the animals themselves.